So I've been into K-pop since probably around 2006, around high school. My first group was Big Bang. Back then, it wasn't a big like YouTube presence. Tumblr was on there. Then Master X started to debut too as well. Then I got into them, and then I got into NCT. So now currently, I'm really on Twitter for fandom engagement, mostly following Monster X and DT. I feel like I'm very more involved now with the fandom compared to when I was into Big Bang because since they were Generation 2, social media wasn't as big then. Under the age of 20, no education experience, mostly teenagers. And that unfortunately stems from articles that are written about BTS and Stray Kids. Anytime they have a big tour, if you read the lingo, they always say tweens, they always say teenage girls, where, especially with BTS, the majority of the fandom now has grew up with BTS. The majority of BTS fandom is over the age of 21 because they've been following BTS probably since they were the youngest members' age, whereas a lot of us are adults. I have friends that age between 22 through 50s, especially with K-pop. Demon Hunters are getting popular too. I feel like people still see K-pop as very childish or juvenile, where there's K-pop groups that have always had mature concepts, such as ET's, Monster X, VIX. They usually have very mature concepts that may not be appropriate for tweens. So international fans, how they're treated compared to Korean fans. I do think it depends on the particular group / fandom too as well. Like for example, I feel GOT7 was always good about trying to keep this equal balance between international and Korean fans. Korean fans, regardless of what group you're into, they're always going to have more access because they have music shows, they have art concerts, they have fan signs. We don't. So it's always going to be that imbalance of Korean fans are going to get everything. And I feel like understanding that as a long time K-pop fan. So I think now we're having more access, but of course there's still restrictions. But I do think with the marketing of trying to make the idols look single, quote does feed into that. Even with Western culture, people just like to feel like they can have a chance. If they know, they're dating someone, then they automatically think that singer has a type. I feel like it is marketing for them to look single, so people would have a fantasy or a lot of want to buy more. There was some rumors some girl was trying to harm herself. I wish I had a good answer to why they're like that. I wasn't into one direction, but I'm sure they had them too. I don't know if it's just a cultural difference, or I feel like they feel more entitled because they get more access to things too. With Western artists, it's so much intimate shows. They don't have fan signs. They don't do all that stuff, especially if the artist becomes very popular. Like usually here, if someone's new, they'll do a smaller venue. We don't have meet and greets that much compared to K-pop. This seems very extreme, especially with C fans. The answer could be, unfortunately, not everyone. It could be mental illness. Some people do struggle with depression and they get hyperfixated on an idol, and that's all they want to focus on, and it gets very concerning. And I'm not saying that's every single crazy fan. Some of them just have money and have nothing to do. Mommy and daddy gives them money and they just follow idols all the time. There's a lot of those too. I mean, of course it's not fair, but at the same time, you can't have everyone at a private event. But it makes sense that there's people online that kind of watches these fan sites are popular and they reach out to them because they take good pictures. There's so many fan sites where people are like, they're stalkers, but they take the most amazing pictures of certain idols. And it makes sense that they do have a social media team that do reach out to these people. And I feel like some idols, they do have a good relationship with their known fan sites. And I feel like if they're not creepy and they're just always there, they might be comfortable with them. And I think a lot of fans don't realize that some idols are comfortable with their questionable fans if they're not harming them. Like if they're just always there at the airport, they're everywhere, they're just, and they're fine with them. It's a big thing with JB too that people were upset about one girl, she was always there, but like he wasn't bothered by her. I feel like also if they're reaching out to them to come to these personal events, then there's not much you can really do about it either. I always say as long as they're not getting hurt and the idol is comfortable. Like clearly there's a lot of fan type people do flag on Twitter as like stalkers, but they have fan calls with them. The idol seems fine. They remember how many calls they have with them. They remember their conversations. So I feel like, yeah, it's crossing the boundary, but I feel like at the same time, if they're comfortable and they're not doing anything, there's not much you can do. And then also, idols, especially the male idols, they're still men. If they are attracted to some of the girls that are fan sites, they probably wouldn't mind seeing them, a couple of times, couple calls. And then like with the Lucas scandal, I feel like it was one girl, she had access to like their dorm, and to this day we don't know how, because she definitely had pictures that she shouldn't have had. And I know Wavy had definitely had issues with soccer fans having access to being on shows that Lucas was on. So I think that was not good, and I'm hoping SM gets better with getting rid of these people that are giving these girls certain access and making them uncomfortable. So that's my deal, is more so if they're comfortable. Like, yeah, Twitter, they can say the girl's a stalker and weird, but if the idol is clearly going to them at concerts and have seen it, and he's not running away, there's not much you can discuss about it. And at the end of the day, they do like supporters. They like seeing the same people, and they do like seeing new people